Welcome on another Saturday. This is our last episode for the season on our podcast channel. See, I said podcast right. Apparently, everyone is telling me you're saying podcast, Shane. I can't fail to believe that the Arabic in me is kicking in more sometimes. We got a great guest today, our one and only Hanan. Cheers to you, Hanan. A fashion icon and a fashion expert. She's all about the fashion. You can see the colors, red and blue.
Thank you.
The first time that I've seen your profile on Instagram, I told Chad, who was handling everything regarding the talents. I told her we gotta have Hanan on the show.
I appreciate. Thank you for
really
having
do.
me. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a voice as well.
No,
because
man.
most of people see pictures, but they don't tend to know where you come from.
Yeah.
What's the
You're
story
quite
behind
tricky.
it.
Like when you look at you, I don't know where you're from. You know what I mean?
No, I don't know. No, I'm not that
She
mysterious.
Bangladeshi. She
But-
from Egypt.
Oh wow. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, like it's confusing. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay, I didn't get the Bangladeshi
Yeah.
guess
So it's very
before, but it's good. It's exotic.
Yeah, it is very confusing.
Good.
So that takes me to my most asked question in humanity. Where are you from? What's your story?
Is it in humanity though, or is
It
it
is.
just in Qatar?
No, actually,
Because
no.
like that's the second question you get when you meet someone here.
What's the
in
first
Qatar.
one?
Hi.
How are you?
What's your name?
What's your name?
But then where you're from?
Yeah.
Just to see what kind of position I will get towards.
Yeah. What kind of
you.
conversation we're gonna
Yeah.
have? All right.
Yeah. So I'm a French with Moroccan roots.
Okay, so you're Moroccan originally.
So originally Moroccan, born and raised in France,
Okay.
near Lyon. And
So you're born and raised in France, yeah?
yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we arrived in Qatar about 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Yes.
Well, are you like? How did it feel to be in Qatar? Were you always in the Middle East beside Morocco? Did you live somewhere else?
I lived in New York for 1 year, but I've never been in Middle East.
Is that where you got motivated to be this fashion icon? You picked it up from there.
Really?
I feel like
New York is more fashionable than France? No.
Not really, but sometimes I love watching Fashion NY Week. And I love how people are walking randomly in the street and their like cape is all over like that and nice weird Balenciaga
Well,
shoes.
you have street styles from like
Yeah.
Paris, and I have family in Italy as well.
Okay.
So that sense of style, I grew up looking
Fashionable.
around me, and it was just
Yeah.
a constant scene for me.
Okay.
I'm also a daughter of a tailor.
Oh.
So I grew up, with the background sound of a sewing machine and,
Provided with a brand new
Walmart
outfit every day, huh?
Yeah, and I didn't know how priceless it was to have someone at home.
I've never met anyone who had a tailor in their life. Even.
Oh, really?
No, I never did, really.
That's
My
fantastic.
mom used to tailor at home. Remember the old generation when they had a tailor machine? That kind of extinct, so I'm sure not everyone knows about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, the thing is, she was a tailor,
Okay.
and it was also her hustle.
Yeah. Gotta make it.
Because in France, like, you don't have a lot of clothes, especially in the 90s,
Yeah.
for plus sizes. So everyone would come to her and say,
Really?
can you make me like some clothes that would be like XXL? And yeah, that was the hustle.
So that was an issue. I mean, in France, sometimes there was a lot of overweight people because I know they're not really
it's-
European stereotype idea. They're all skinny and fit. And so,
I think it's more of a cultural thing.
yeah.
So we did not have plus sizes for a very long time. Even when I was working in retail, the largest size you have is 42,
Okay.
which is one of the smallest size in Middle East.
It is. It is.
It's basically based on the culture, the lifestyle,
The biological
diet,
knowledge.
and the
side of it.
diet as well.
Yeah.
We are not a society where we encourage sugar, fat. Every time there is a commercial, they tell the kids, don't forget to exercise and eat not too much sugar, blah, blah, blah. So there is an awareness since a very long time that started to kick in the US.
Yeah.
They start to say, okay, we need to chill on the obesity and sugar and
Really?
stuff.
I feel like the American culture is very shoved on fast food. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like, I
now
really do.
they're starting to be very conscious about how unhealthy it is.
Even our camera guy, when he went to America, all he kept talking about was what, Five Guys and all the food and
Yeah, no, I mean they're all about the taste for sure.
Yeah.
But I think they're becoming more educated about like what good.
There's a new health wave kicking in, like, you know, organic diet food. I feel like
Michelle
it's,
Obama,
really?
you know, she also
that was random. You just dropped the name
yeah,
in the
but
middle
like
of it.
you know, like she started to to start some changes for kids and etc. So even at school, they give them pizza, they give them some very unhealthy stuff. So it starts at very young age. But I think France was not exposed to obesity problems, or it was very rare to be a plus size. So unfortunately, markets did not provide for those people.
So you had to go to the tailors.
So they came to my mom, which is a good thing.
Wow,
though.
man. That's actually a story behind it. So was this one of the kickoffs why you got into fashion?
Well, the thing is, I was a fashion designer without knowing that I was one.
Yeah.
Because you get to
You can be a superhero
pick the
without
shape.
having it. Huh?
You know, you pick the shape. Then she opens the fabric cupboard, and you see all the fabrics. I wanted this, and then she makes you choose the buttons and the lace and all of those details. So that's a fashion designer job. And
were you always passionate since a young age? Like, were you always in the shop with your mom, with your...
Well, I was passionate about it because, unfortunately, growing in a city where we are not much Arabs, I understood how the way you look matters.
Okay.
At a very, very young age. So I realized that when you're dressed a certain way,
you get treated in a certain way.
You get treated in a certain way. Yeah. So this was for me a tool to be accepted, to have attention, like the positive attention, and not the, oh, you're brown, I'm not holding your hands, or I'm not, you know, those kind of very racist comments that I would experience on a daily basis. So I did realize that the way you look matters. And unfortunately, we're still
suffering from that.
Of course. And it's not just about racism or anything. Looks matters for any sort of industry, or we do the first impression matters so much.
What is a man wearing? You know, when I was a kid, my mom told me a story that there was a very famous man in our area back in Sudan. It was up north. It was a very small village, right? And this guy used to be really famous. He was rich also. He was a rich merchant. But he was never really... He never paid attention to his attire. He would always wear raggedy clothes and stuff like that. One day there was a funeral. He went to the funeral. He was wearing like a messed up thobe, you know, jalabiya, like we say it. Mm-hmm. It was ripped off. So when he sat there, not much attention was given. Like, he wasn't even offered water. No one was talking about him. And he felt it. And he went home and he changed into a nice this umama, and came back, you know, looking like money.
Like a king.
Yeah, looking like money. And you know what? Everyone rushed to him and they were like, welcome, thank you for coming. And they gave him food. You know what's the first thing he did? He dipped his sleeve in the plate. And he was like, he said in translation what he said in Arabic, my sleeve is more worthy of eating than my mouth, because people respect what you wear more than who you are. You know what I mean? So
that's a powerful statement.
It is. He was a very wise man, actually. And he was talking about this issue, that how people, even in the previous generations, our parents, and the way we grew up as Arabs, it was different than Europeans, because we come from rural backgrounds. If you look at it, most of us are villagers. Mm-hmm. And we never used to pay attention to what a man wears and what he's not wearing. You know what I mean?
Now I do believe that even in small villages, even men, before it was a woman thing, you know, to be like, okay, what is she wearing? And when you go to a wedding and you see like she puts all of the gold that she's possessed, and like it's a way of making a societal statement, I would say, to show what you have, and then because from day one, everyone just keeps giving you respect based on what you have.
Yeah.
And
they evaluate you. Look at the shoes, how much.
Absolutely. That's very contradictory because I'm still very focused on how I look.
Yeah.
But I do believe that nowadays, not in the region, but in Western countries, we are the tag that we put on Muslim women.
Yeah.
This submissive, no personality, no rights, no voice, no whatever.
Meant to be doing one job, right?
Meant to be just,
staying home, looking modest, and taking care of the kids and the family.
Absolutely.
And the husbands.
And that's the thing that,
no opinion is preferred too. You know what they say. We don't like a woman with an opinion.
Yeah, well, that's misogyny thing is like international. I don't think it's specifically on hijabis. But
they get an extra flavor of it. Hijabis get an extra spice to it.
Because she's submissive. Anyways.
Is she?
Well, through the eyes of Western
men,
uncultured
men
and women. Because when you tell them that for us, it's like when Muhammad Ali told his daughter one day she was wearing not really conservative clothes, the least I could say, and he was telling her that she was too precious to be put out there like that, and to just wear more clothes or to be more conservative is every beautiful precious thing are hidden. Like the pearls, everything is
taken
preserved and in a cocoon. You would not leave your $200,000 watch just like that on the table. You will put it in a
little nice
coffer,
box. But here's the thing, sometimes even the idea of fashion when it comes to hijabi women previously was hard. Like I remember a lot of hijabi women would say, I as a hijabi, it's very hard for me to get dressed because it's hard for me to find an outfit that would cover me and would also look good on me. You know what I mean? I don't know, do women still suffer from this issue though? As hijabis?
What I think
I like to call them hijabis because I got hijabis. Hijabi-jabis.
But the thing is, like, the tricky thing is that if you've dressed all of your life to express, which was my case. For example, like I was very eclectic.
Were you always a hijabi though?
No.
You weren't?
It's a 5-year
decision,
journey. No, 4 year.
4 years journey,
yeah?
Okay, we'll get to that. Why did you kick up? First tell me that.
But the thing is that when you have no guidelines on what you're wearing, and you just wear what you feel like wearing, that day you're preppy, the next day you're wearing streetwear stuff.
Or maybe you're classic.
And then you're like, androgyne, and then you're very girly, and like you have a very large choice.
As a non-hijabi.
As a non-hijabi. And if you use attire to express something, such as like music, and it's part of your lifestyle. When you decide to cover up, it becomes very tough. Because I remember I just wore a abaya and a scarf, and I was like, I look like my mom. It was, my ego had like a kick, And
especially if you weren't hijabi and you lived in France and you lived in a different environment.
Definitely. And the thing is, you just realize how, if it's a mode of expression, it becomes kind of like a personality struggle. Because if you have to find the new you through through modest wear, through modesty. And being in retail at the time for more than 15 years.
You had a background of an experience.
I used to style
more than
people.
others,
And I used to style for photo shoot, and I used to work as a consultant in New York to help designers meet a market expectation, etc.
Yeah.
And when it came to me finding my style in a modest wear,
You were like,
I found myself clueless.
You were like, what am I doing, right?
I was like, I went through all the fashion faux pas you could ever, like the too much layering.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, you know what, I'm just going to wear this, I'm going to add something with sleeves, and then, you know what, for the legs, I'm going to do this, and then you find yourself looking like a clown. And
your first few days as a hijabi, how did it feel? Like, were you angry? Were like, you know what, there's no need for me to be hijabi? Were you questioning the decision again?
No, I did not question the decision, but I questioned my ability to compose with those guidelines.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like a done deal. I could pull out an outfit in 5 minutes, tell me, we're going there, blah, 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 we're going to a restaurant, or let's go out. I could pull out an outfit in, like, on my sleep.
Yeah.
But then I was like, okay,
I need time.
I don't even know how to dress and to still.
You had to change a whole closet, yeah?
Definitely. Definitely.
That must have cost you a budget, huh?
But no, you build that slowly, and I'll get to that. Those tricks. Yeah. This is why I do believe in timeless pieces.
Okay, what is timeless pieces? Yeah.
It's something that is not screaming, oh, that's from the 80s. Oh, that's from the 70s.
Okay.
It's timeless.
Like a white shirt.
I'd rather build a wardrobe rather than, white shirt.
Like what I saw yesterday on Instagram. You would love this. I was a big fan of this. You know the old Air Force Ones, the white ones? And they were like, these shoes will never be out of fashion because they're just a classic. They're a mark in fashion. I was like, hell no. I don't like them. But, I understand where people are coming from.
That's something that goes with pretty much anything. Yeah. And I remember, like, I've seen a documentary on the singer Sade.
Okay.
For me, she's just beautiful and elegant.
Okay.
And she came in this out. It was the 90s.
Yeah.
And the woman who interviewed her, she had, like this haircut with those shoulders and this like shine. And I was like,
Gucci from head to toe, huh?
Yeah.
Looking Gucci, like they say,
Looking Gucci, but like.
But it wasn't Gucci.
It wasn't Gucci. And the thing is, that video, when you see Sade and you see how she came with a linen large trousers, a little shirt, and you're like, she could rock that outfit today.
Oh, okay.
That's the power of a timeless piece.
Yeah.
If it's timeless, if it's quality, you don't need to, follow the trends. Yeah. Because the Gucci look, who would have loved the Gucci look 5 years ago? Actually,
I did. I started to like Gucci only 6 months ago. I'm not lying. Before I was like, I don't like that brand. But then after a while, what they've been kicking off in the new seasons, I was like, oh, wow.
You're a victim. You're just a victim. No, it's it's
I'm a victim in a lot of things. Sometimes I just don't like to deny it,
But, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that some people on a higher level decide if tomorrow it's going to be blue or if it's going to be...
Especially these new shoes. Have you seen these new sneakers, the fat ones?
Ugly.
What is this? Shoes. I'm like, why are people actually promoting
Don't get me wrong. I love ugly. Because for me...
What do you mean you love ugly?
I love ugly shoes. I love ugly clothes. I love the challenge of putting an ugly piece and rock it in a way that's like, oh, okay.
So if I see you in their shoes, you would rock it in a very nice hijabi way with like a nice scarf.
That's a challenge that I love to take. And it was also the kind of challenge, like if you would say to an al-hijabi, okay, here is a leather skirt.
Okay.
That's tricky.
Yeah.
To not be vulgar or to not be
a bit
too
cheapy,
too sexy, too cheap, too. Yeah. It's a challenge. And I love this kind of challenge where, you take a piece, but you can translate it to something completely different based on how you accessorize and how you tone it down. Maybe you put on a sweater and with that skirt and you tone it down. For the ugly shoes, you can definitely try to build and outfits that makes them less ugly than what they are. And I think that fashion shifted now, and people are more into like ugly is the new pretty.
Yeah. It's like I feel like they're bringing back the 80s kind of look.
Ugly Betty.
Yeah.
Ugly Betty was...
That's the name for it?
No, like, you remember that show, Ugly Betty?
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, the spray thing? What is that?
No, it's actually a girl that gets in fashion magazine industry, and she has nothing fashion about her. She's wearing braces. She has this like one eyebrow.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Yeah, now I got it.
It was in 2000 something.
Yeah, okay.
But anyways, it's now we're more into a new way of defining what's pretty and what's not.
Yeah.
And
you believe these fashion designers, they define that, like the fashion scene in the world, marketing, they define what is pretty and what is not nowadays? Or
I think now with the power of social media and influencers, when they put their style out there, they're kind of influencing the trendsetters, because you know,
before only they would influence themselves. Now there's outside influencers in the market that are not really working with them. You know what I mean? Is that what you kind of say?
What I'm saying is that you have people who are deciding what will be the trends of 2019, 2020. So those people, they browse on social media. They see what's hot now and towards what it's leaning. And they, based on this, the music industry, all the artistic industries, they kind of forecast what's going to happen in 2019, 2020. So those people are influenced by regular people like us as well. So I don't think that those industries are the only key player on the trends. I think what's happening today, how you wear hijab movement becomes something that, you know, shifts.
They started to actually pay attention to hijabis a while back, you know what I mean?
Well, when you have a large corporate, it's not even a large it's the largest corporation, Nike.
Yeah, I've seen
designing hijab for us.
That was a big movement.
Well, it just means that we exist. It's a recognition of, there is this industry that a lot of people try to hide, and those people...
Not hide, not pay attention to, I believe, is the right word.
In France, they want to hide you. When you put out their laws that forbid you to work, there are countries, unfortunately, where you are not allowed to work with your hijab. You're not allowed to be seen in a public space. So even wearing a hijab, recently, one woman was not allowed to enter to a school to pick up her kid because you're not allowed to enter. So all of the mummies comes all the way to the classroom, but you have to stay out in the street and wait for your kid.
That's horrible.
That's horrible. We're like, that's a segregation, you know?
Dehumanizing too.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also you're not giving them the right to be part of the economy.
And it contradicts with the form of what a liberal society is. Because in a liberal society, you should actually accept anyone with whatever they are and whatever they believe in. Contradicts a lot of things. You mentioned the word magazine earlier, and I've seen your face on Grazie. And I was like, wow, you know, this is the first hijabi to ever be on a Grazie magazine.
That was kind of a great deal for me as well.
What is that? Tell us about it.
Well, I've been contributing for Grazie magazine since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
And my input was more through my eyes as, you know, hijabi.
Yeah.
And so I would say give tips and tricks on how to wear hijab for travels or, you know, anything like that. So this is the focus of my column.
Yeah, you write a column there,
And
but you only focus on what hijab you should wear or stuff like that, or do you have a wide expand
it's
of
a
writings?
style. It's more style fashion oriented.
Yeah.
Hijabi, but not
To hijabi.
No, not. It's not about
Like
hijabi.
that. Hijabi, but not to
You
hijabi.
have
Does that
some
make
people who are hijabi, but they're talking about different aspects.
Yeah.
You know, sports, lifestyle,
Yeah.
health, whatever. I'm a fashion-oriented person.
Yeah.
I'm not a makeup artist. I'm not. You know, my scene, my playground is fashion. So that's what I want to express, and based on the struggle that I was talking about, trying to put out an outfit just to go out for dinner and looking like a clown,
Yeah.
and being like, you know what, I don't want to go anymore, you know. So
And I'm already dressed up and waiting, you know.
yeah,
Don't ditch me.
Your
Come on.
husband is like, okay, are we going to dinner, or, and you're like on the floor sitting almost crying, and you're like, no, I don't know what to wear, and it doesn't look like me. You go through an identity crisis.
Yeah. Yeah. And he has to deal with it, poor man.
Strong man.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So I was like, if I had all of that retail and fashion background,
Yeah.
and I was experiencing this, maybe I could help those who have no fashion history,
Okay.
wants to look good, wants to have any ideas,
What
rather
to wear,
than
what
just
not to wear, the colors, the
exactly.
Because listen, sometimes I've seen some of the women in hijab, the colors are horrendous. And because I have a sister who's hijabi too, and I was like, listen, you cannot put a you know, this kind of scarf with this color. I'm like, I'm not a hijabi, but sometimes, yeah, wear all black. You know what I mean? But you need to match the colors. And I felt like something like this is actually needed. Someone who's in the hijabi fashion industry who can tell a lot of hijabi women what are the proper colors you can wear, even for occasions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to have a voice on the magazine, and
Yeah.
that's what I offered to put out there. Again, it's a very tricky industry because fashion industry and modest wear, it comes from a religious
Very
perspective
tricky, yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's very easy to get lost and, you know, like slip from one side or another one. So you could be like, okay, this is not Muslim friendly, but
That's
still
a new
it
term.
looks good.
I like that. Can we use that? Muslim friendly? I like that.
So
It's like jeggings. We use the word jeggings better. Do you know what jegging is?
of course,
You do?
It's-
I never knew what jegging is. And coming to the end of the season, I'm just saying I never knew.
okay. So you know you're learning a lot through your
I'm
podcast.
learning.
That's good.
So tell me about
That's
it.
good.
Yeah, here's it.
So what I'm saying is that communicating through an outfit, being still a lover of fashion, wanting to look good, is really good, and it's natural for a woman.
Yeah.
However, modesty is still modesty.
Yeah.
So at some point, your sleeve will not have to reach here, you know. And at some point, you know, there is a rule, there is a certain, you know, guideline, and then in between you can be playful and, you know.
You know, the idea of modest wear or wearing a modest outfit, I believe somehow is not even. Yeah, and it existed before even the idea of hijab in a way. Like if a woman from a regular, you know, traditional conservative family, let's say not religious, but they love the idea of their girl wearing, for example, you know, a long sleeve kind of, you know, jeans, or even like a long skirt, something that is classy looking, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I feel like even if a woman is not hijabi, for example, because a lot of women, they don't want to come out there looking tacky, you know?
Yeah.
It's very triggering, or it's very tricky for a woman in this modern day and age, because you don't want to be judged. You don't want to be looked at as something, because, you know, we live in a world where people are actually very judgy. They can see you wearing, for example, designer outfit, and they're like, this guy is snobby and he's very, but you're not. Maybe you just love fashion and you want to be in nice, you found yourself. Maybe you save up money to buy these things. This is what you're into. I find it very tricky even for a woman, even if she's not wearing hijab, because for you to go out of your house wearing a full-on outfit looking good and also not to be showy, I also find it tricky. And when it comes to a hijabi woman, I feel like it adds up more, because then you got to figure out a scarf. You got to figure out if it's too loose. I had a friend of mine, she would, for example, travel to London, and she would be, you know, she's a hijabi, and then she would have an issue. I was like, why are your pants too loose? And she would be like, I'm hijabi, I don't want to wear like tight pants. But I was like, okay, the baggy pants though, or like the suit jacket would be too baggy. So I would see her struggle, and then I'd be like, maybe I'm actually too picky, or I'm provoking her, because it's not even easy for her as a hijabi to look fashionable, to cover up, and you know what I mean. So,
I do, and at the same time, I do believe also. Let's put religion and all aside.
Yeah.
I just feel like the perception of sexy or attractive has completely shifted.
Yeah.
For even Drake says it. I like you
album?
better. Yeah.
Shout out to that new album. You know?
But what I'm saying is that like he's saying that his girl looks better sweatpants, no makeup on.
Yeah, that's when you're the prettiest. Yeah.
I hope that you don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying.
All right.
That's the point is, we shifted completely from that very obvious sexiness, which was being revealing. Now it's more about suggesting, even if we're not talking religious on a religious standing point. Even now in Europe, or we have a lot of women going around with an oversized shirt, suit, whatever.
It's the baggy look nowadays.
Big glasses. It's basically everything that's ugly, I'll put on and I'll still look good.
With a nappy hair?
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've seen this is the kind of wave that's kicking in. And by the way, strolling through social media, talking about what is the new sexy and everything. Back in the day, men would be, attracted to the idea of a woman wearing less clothes. But if you look at this generation, or our generation, on social media, if a woman is actually showing more, they would be like, no, please don't. You know what I mean? And this is men talking.
But you've been overexposed. You've had so much.
You're flooding the market with too many showy women, and then they were like, oh, you know what? This is not attractive. Please put some clothes on.
Because there's no.
I've never thought that I would grow up in a day and era where I'd see men writing in comment sections. Please put a clothes on, put an outfit on. You know what I mean? I was like, wow, something is shifting in the idea of men nowadays. And they were like, no, I want a classy woman. I want a woman that wears nice outfits, look good, look decent, look independent.
I think
but not too
independent. Growing up. Come on.
Not too independent.
And I just feel like
you still need me.
They're still they're kind of stimulated by something different.
Yeah.
They just want a good conversation.
They do.
Someone they have fun with, someone they laugh with.
You're right.
But before, it was all about that piece of meat and it was
this modernization kicking in.
You always have a focus on what you cannot see.
Yeah.
I've seen something very curious. I've seen guys recording girls walking from the back wearing abaya. What are you seeing? What are you seeing?
Yeah.
There are just black fabrics, but still it was appealing to them.
Yeah.
So that's when I realized even a lot of men, they would say, I'm more attracted to the girl that's covering also the face.
There's something mysterious about it.
There is something
I'm testing my luck.
I want to know. And I want to unwrap the gift,
Yeah.
And this is why I just feel like you don't need to put so much out there to feel good and to feel pretty.
Yeah.
And if, because you're working, you cannot, come with a very religious Muslim attire, you still have other options. No see-through, long sleeve, no tight. Come on. You can play with these rules and have something very pretty and still show up at work and not look like you just came out of a mosque and be like...
you don't look like you can't get a joke, basically. Stiff.
Exactly, especially in European countries.
Yeah.
So I do think that a lot of brands
do you
there...
think in Europe, for example, let's take a little dream. Let's look in the camera and believe. Let's say we're walking towards Europe right now. You and me. And you're wearing a very nice outfit like this. What's the perception of a European man when you look at a hijabi woman looking all stylish? Do they like it? Or they be like, From living there, what do you think? or being around it.
Okay, you've been dreaming first.
I was.
Yeah.
I was.
So in the dream,
we're dreaming now.
It would have been positive. Like for me, positivity is just you're looking at a human.
Yeah.
And the point is not to.
The term human is very tricky nowadays because not everyone looks at you as human. Let's be honest.
No,
you know what I mean?
No.
It's the modern day era.
No, because when you see comments on a child crying, being separated from his family at the border,
yeah,
and being in a cage and crying, and you have comments like, it's not okay. This kid should be beaten. Yeah, you have racist people not looking at this innocent child as a human.
They're not. Yeah,
they're looking at him like a gangster.
Yeah,
and
they see trouble.
Yeah.
So when they see a hijabi looking like this, sometimes they don't even look at the fashion or the effort she's putting.
No.
They would see trouble.
But at the end of the day, it's not what I want.
Yeah.
It's for me to look. It makes me feel good. It's just like getting out of my shower to go to bed and still putting on perfume. Okay. Yeah. It's aromatherapy. I just feel good. Let me make myself feel good.
Yeah.
So my point is, if actually I would have a natural look, I'd be lucky.
Yeah.
But I've had the hate look. I've had
that's horrible.
The pity look. Oh my God, you're going through so much right now.
What am I going through?
No, because of
I'm wearing Gabbana, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, my husband is beating me up to wear that. You know? Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, I have no opinion. And
he chose the outfit for you.
I have the hate look, the pity look. I have the anger look. I have. I was like not lucky at one point because I was in France when Charlie Hebdo happened.
Yeah.
And
that must have been a bad phase for hijabis, right?
Oh my God! I never felt unsafe.
Oh wow! I actually felt that, watching
at
TV.
At this point, like I was walking at 2 p.m. in the streets and looking at like a regular guy staring at me with hate. I was like, is he gonna come and spit at my face? Or what's gonna happen? I was feeling really unsafe. So yeah, I just feel like right now in Europe with the propaganda against Islam and Muslim people, it makes it hard to just be.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be a representative of
Islam,
a Muslim community or Islam or
because
God.
that's not what you aim for. You just want to be you, right? In a nice little hijab outfit.
It's not just that I want to be me, and also like
show a new look.
I'm not even worthy of being a representative of all that.
Yeah,
there are some perfect people. I'm not a prophet. I'm none of that.
Yeah.
I'm just a woman who doesn't want to be looked at as a piece of meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to show my body, and it's my right. So if you are angry as a woman because you just feel like, oh, she's so pretentious, she feels she's better than us, she doesn't want to show how her body is. Or a man to feel like, who is she to think I'm not worthy to see what's going on?
Yeah.
Some people take it this way. Like, who do you think you are
Out
to
of
feel like
ignorance,
you're better than us, to not show,
Yeah.
So
can I ask you something? Coming from the fashion world and all of that, and I'm sure, like you said, you weren't always a hijabi. What's the kickoff that made you, just to want to challenge yourself? You don't wake up every day and you be like, you know what? Let me make it harder for myself today. I don't make these kind of decisions. I'm trying to make it easy.
It's not supposed to be hard.
When you know why.
No, when you know why, and when you understand. My mom was religious, my family is religious, but in a way that, I also grew up in a French country, and,
the clash of civilizations right here.
Yeah, but still, I managed to get the best of both worlds. Yeah. I was able to make my own choices, and at the same time, I had amazing values of Islam.
Yeah.
So, alhamdulillah, I'm not going to say that it was a struggle, it was hard. No. But I knew I had to cover up. But I didn't know I was not ready to let go of my image. Yeah. I still wanted to be looking fun and pretty and this and that. And I was not ready to let go of that.
Yeah.
But when I was married and I got pregnant,
Yeah.
I was not wearing hijab at that point. But
Yeah.
when I realized that gaining 25 kg,
Ooh. That must have been
what
rough.
was that? I created a human being.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that was rough. It must be heavy.
No, there's no woo.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, 25 kg, man.
Yeah. But the thing is,
But props up for that. You know,
sorry?
like, I'm supporting that. Props up. You know,
alhamdulillah. I mean, you don't get.
I don't want all these feminists to attack me afterwards. Shaheen, you're I'm like, no.
You guys should.
I support women. Shaheen does.
But that's the thing. Like, I just realized how I was perceived in a very different way.
Okay.
Life was not easy
Yeah.
because I had this weight on.
Yeah.
So I realized that my looks did influence a lot of things that happened in my life.
Yeah.
So you get girls, friends to go to club because they want to attract as well.
Yeah.
So they just like, we just a whole bunch of girls and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You have also those brands and companies who wants you to represent their brand because you look good enough.
Yeah.
That's like, okay, I'm not supposed to, I was not looked for my personality nor my qualification or and when all of that goes to the trash bin, you're like, okay, now I'm treated normally with less attention, and I realized that this was not the right attention that I wanted for myself.
Yeah.
So I said, listen, I'm not gonna be emotional and cover up with the kg. What I'm gonna do is drop them, and when I feel good about myself, I'm gonna wear the hijab.
Yeah.
So I lost all the weight and decided to cover up.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what triggered this whole thing, and then I realized that
And the
it
treatment
was the
was
most
deferred, yeah? Must have
yeah,
been.
but it was my way to, it was a feminist way to say no. Either you're gonna it kind of forces respect.
Okay.
You look at me for who I am. You look at me for my brain, my personality, and it forces you to respect that rather than just the physical thing,
appearance.
Yeah. So that's where it came from. But on the other hand, it doesn't forbid me to like to wear pretty things and to want to be looking good and feeling good.
No, it doesn't. Like, because to be honest, I've seen a lot of hijabi women, especially in Qatar. Nowadays, because social media, kind of helped show a lot of influence to the younger generation. During when I was growing up, say when I was like 15 up to like 21, I felt like people weren't really paying much attention to the idea of fashion attire. Say from around 2005 up to 2014. After that, I've noticed there's a slightly change, and it just kept climbing up. And then, especially in hijabi women, you see now really nice outfits, rocking with the little Gucci sneakers. You know what I mean?
You're into Gucci, right?
I'm not. I'm just saying, like, that's what people, what I've noticed. It's very random for them to be wearing it with LV, but I'm just saying, or like the little Nike sneakers. At the beginning, I remember there was an expat community kicking in, I think during the Asian game or something, and there was a lot of women in abaya wearing sneakers with abaya. It was very weird. I've never seen a woman in abaya wearing sneakers before, and then I was like, whoa, this is something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then after a while, it became a trendy thing. People started to wear nice sneakers with abayas. Girls started doing that. The abaya color changed. The idea of a conventional looking abaya from black, white started showing. Purple. I've seen a woman wearing pink abaya once, and I was like, whoa.
Different fabric as well.
Yeah, the
Linen
silky kind of like fabric.
and linen and You know, like.
And I was like, here you go. That's nice. Because you're adding flavor, you're adding spice to it. Even the idea of hijab, when a man sees a woman in different colors and nice, fashionable way, even if she's a hijabi, he would be like, you know what? I like this. A lot of men were very angry at the beginning, you know, conservative. They were like, abaya shouldn't be pink because it's very flashy and it's very haram. And I was like, no, calm down. All right, chill. You know what I mean?
I know, but at the same time, you talk a lot about, like, even through the eyes of men.
Well,
but
I'm
at
a man,
the end
I'm
of the
sorry.
day, it's not about how man thinks about how we dress. It's just that modesty did not forbid you to be challenging and creative when it comes to your attire.
At the beginning, they thought it was. A lot of women at the beginning, they found that the idea of wearing hijab is khalas. Just wear hijab, stay like that. You don't have to, you know, glamorous. You can put makeup on, look nice. But then, you know, a lot of people kicked in and they started changing the outfits. And like you said, it's not even the idea of men, because some of them found a lot of pressure from society that abaya shouldn't be this color.
Yeah.
You're being too showy. You're contradicting the idea of a modesty outfit.
Yeah.
But what I'm feeling is that what I'm seeing also is that you wearing hijab, like you were saying, should not limit you at all. You can also be creative, you know, whatever you're feeling comfortable in. If you want to wear hijab, if you don't want to wear hijab, you can still look fashionable, you can still look good, you know what I mean? So a lot of people, I have a lot of conversations related to the idea of hijab, modernization, how can we be, catching up with the era, and fashion is actually a very point of key, like they say.
Yeah, but at the same time,
I keep saying you know a lot, but I do not know. But that's why I say you know.
But that's the thing. Like now, this is why for me that cover was a great deal, because doing it with the fact that I was a hijabi was more important, because it did show that you don't have to show.
Yeah. You ain't gotta show it.
Some models are, professional in the industry. I'm not a model. That's not my angle. But some people who are in this industry, they have never been on a cover.
Yeah.
And yet they've shown everything that has to be shown.
Yeah.
And I was proud and happy to be able to do it without showing
props up
none
for
of
that. Props up for that.
So I'm not saying, I need to be an example for other hijabis to do that. But what I'm saying is that you can be as Manel, who is the first woman who had worn the Nike hijab. She's an athlete, she's a coach. You have people who has real talent, not just looking pretty and stylish.
Yeah.
Who has
that's a talent not a lot of people do have.
But that's the thing, a lot of people have talent, and your scarf should not limit you on anything. You want to be a kick-ass surgeon, you want to be whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do. A piece of fabric is not supposed to limit you. And coming from a society where you get kicked out of school if you're wearing it, that's something that was important for me to state, So,
Thank you so much. I really, it felt like a therapy kind of session. I want to thank you for sharing these beautiful ideas and experience.
Thank you.
I Heart Doha. I want to thank the crew, Ahmed Shahada behind the scenes, and also Shahad behind the scenes, and Hanan, who are a lovely guest for the end of the season. We're wrapping up our first season. We're going to be back in September. So reach us out if you have any great ideas, shout outs, even thoughts. We're happy to answer you 24/7. And we want to give a big shout out to Trinity for giving us this opportunity and this amazing studio. Until we meet again, Sam Shaheen signing out. Take care.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
Yeah.
It was my pleasure, and it was a first, so please bear with my English. First of all, it's not my first language, and I hope I gave you more of an idea of behind the girl in the cover.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.